Joining us now, Jerome Corsi, who himself is facing his own legal fight with the special counsel after rejecting Mueller's plea deal because he says he refuses to lie under oath against President Trump. Dr. Corsi was criminally threatened and coerced to tell a lie, call it the truth, as he explained on this show. And now here to give us further reaction, author of the book Silence No More, Dr. Jerome Corsi. You spent 40 hours with Mueller, correct?
Yes, Sean, 40 hours.
And they were willing to say, and you're 72 years old, right?
Yes, I'm 72.
And in the course of answering questions, you didn't remember emails specifically from 2 years prior.
Correct.
And at times you amended some of your testimony?
Almost continuously, because as I said, I'm not a human tape recorder. You can't punch a button, and I can't remember precisely conversations or emails. In this gotcha game that the Mueller prosecutors were determined to play, it became psychologically really disturbing, and by the end of 40 hours, I think my mind was complete mush.
I can't tell you who was on the show Monday, so I don't know. I'm with you. But when you found out and when you went through your papers and your emails and stuff, you said, uh-oh, I got that wrong. Here's the truth. You amended it. First, your reaction to the pre-dawn raid of Roger Stone today.
Well, I was shocked. I mean, I think this is Gestapo-like tactics. I mean, what's the point in having all these armed police with riot gear bursting into a house at 7 a.m., wife and Roger in bed? I mean, this is not America. This is not the way we treat people in America who are basically trying just to be political operatives who are earning a living. And, I mean, it frightens me to think what the FBI could do bursting into my home with my wife asleep and the family asleep. There's no need for it. And I think increasingly that we're seeing an out-of-control Mueller operation that is determined to terrorize people and criminalize politics. I think it's very frightening for the direction of America.
Do you still fear, because when you refused to sign what you said was a lie, what was said to you and your attorneys, and are you afraid that they're now going to pre-dawn raid you in your house?
Well, it could happen. I mean, the attorneys, my attorneys were told by the Mueller group, well, we'll take it from here. Very angry, arrogant. And that's, of course, now been the end of November, and nothing has happened. I think when I read this indictment today, it's absolutely clear I'm not being accused of no wrongdoing. I've done nothing wrong, Sean. I brought in and offered all my computers, my backup systems, my cell phone, my emails. I went in to cooperate. I've offered to cooperate throughout the process, and I did not willingly and knowingly give information I knew to be false to deceive the special prosecutor. I had memory problems.
You were referred to as person number one in Roger's indictment, and they go through a series of emails that and communications between the two of you, where basically, you know, you're saying, oh, what does WikiLeaks have now? This is after Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the first Clinton email dump, which we never would have gotten probably if a lot of these things were better protected. That's a different issue for a different day. But it's mentioned you want to find out. You were working for WorldNet Daily at the time. You wanted to find out, like everyone else in the media, what else did Julian Assange and WikiLeaks have? What was he going to release next? And you were talking about it. Now, I know that you wrote a dissertation at Harvard, did you not, on the Pentagon Papers?
Yes, in fact, that's my PhD dissertation in 1972 in the Department of Political Science. It was on the Pentagon Papers case. I mean, I'm thinking that was now 47 years ago. I mean, it was amazing to me that that's what I focused on. But as a journalist, I had a right to talk with Assange, to speak with Assange, to publish what Assange had. It's just that I had no contact with Assange.
The New York Times published it.
Yes.
Yeah, and by the way, you said to me, you've never talked to Julian Assange.
Never. And I've never talked to...
Neither is Roger Stone, if I remember correctly.
As far as I know, I mean, Roger can speak for himself, but I know for myself that I have never spoken with Julian Assange directly or indirectly. So had no contact.
So comparing the Pentagon Papers case, which you did a dissertation ironically on, and looking at this case, all you and Roger want to know is, what does he have? Neither one of you were part of a conspiracy to steal information from anybody, nor did you steal any information from anybody. The precedent's 6-3 Supreme Court decision in the Pentagon Papers case the U.S. against the New York Times clearly states that the Times had a right to publish information as long as they didn't steal it. And you were requesting information and trying to find information, like many others in the media, what was coming next, correct?
You're exactly right, Sean. We had right to do this. It was every journalist and person involved in political operations and the campaigns. Julian Assange not only dropped 40,000 emails on Debbie Wasserman Schultz in July 22nd, 2016. Within a day or two, he said he had more emails to come. And, of course, the speculation was rampant. I wanted to know. Everybody wanted to know. And I passed on a couple of emails to Ted Malloch to say, go see Assange. Roger had written those emails. But there's no crime in any of this. This is just normal politics.
Why are you confident? You seem confident the last time you were on the show that you were going to get a pre-dawn raid. You feel that it's less likely today. Why?
Much less likely. I think I've pushed back. I've written this book, Silent No More. The indictment suggests nothing I've done that's wrong. I believe I've done nothing wrong.
And you're prepared, though, if it does happen?
Well, I mean, if it does happen, we'll deal with it. But my family's prepared. But it has made my life, my family's life, my wife, the entire family a nightmare. And days you can't sleep, up days, bad days. This is not America. I was done nothing wrong. I was a journalist. I went in to the best of my ability with faulty memory. I can be convicted of having a bad memory, but I can't be convicted of telling the special counsel or the FBI something I knew to be false to deceive them. It didn't happen.
All right. We'll watch carefully. This is scary. You know, if Hillary Clinton can delete 33,000 subpoenaed emails, acid wash her hard drive, and bust up devices, nothing happens. All these other people, high-ranking people we know lied to Congress, nothing happens. Scary for this country. We have a lot to get to. Joining us now, the author of The Deep State, Fox News contributor Jason Chaffetz, the author of The Russian Hoax, Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett, author of The Case Against the Democratic House Impeaching Trump, Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz. Congressman Chaffetz, I'll begin with you. If this is the case, all of these other people that we know lied to Congress, and in the case of Hillary, they were subpoenaed, she did delete them, she did acid wash the hard drive, and she did bust up devices. Where's her pre-dawn raid? Where's the pre-dawn raid of everybody else I mentioned?
Remember, Brian Pagliano was the IT specialist for Hillary Clinton. Twice I issued a duly issued subpoena. He refused to show up at Congress. Not only was there not a pre-dawn raid, they never arrested him, they never prosecuted, they never did anything about him. Instead, what you had was this FBI and the Department of Justice handing out immunity agreements so that they got the easiest treatment possible. At the same time, as you point out, there were emails and documents, classified information, so highly classified. Even I, as the chairman of the Oversight Committee, could not see this information. It was out in the wind. It was told up to 300 people had this secure information in a non-classified setting. And the Department of Justice did nothing. It's the duplicity. It's the unbalance. It's that Lady Justice peeking under a blindfold and acting differently for the Democrats than they do on Republicans. That's so disgusting.
Yeah. Greg, I want to get your thoughts on this.
Well, Jason is absolutely right. And in fact, Uma Abedin and Cheryl Mills, two of Hillary Clinton's top aides, clearly made false and misleading statements to the FBI. And emails prove that those were false statements. And Jason, during a committee hearing, Intelligence Committee hearing, confronted James Comey about it. And Comey said, quote, well, there's always conflicting recollection of facts. This from the same guy who used no facts, no evidence, no probable cause to launch a dilating and improper and illegitimate investigation of Donald Trump. And now his longtime friend and ally, Robert Mueller, is pretty much doing the same. These are process crimes, but the indictment of Roger Stone only shows today that Mueller has failed to meet his mandate. No one has been charged with a crime for which Mueller was appointed.
You know, Professor Dershowitz, you've talked about the criminalizing of political differences here. Every one of those people I mentioned and Greg just mentioned are guilty of the exact same thing that they charge Roger Stone with. If we're going to arrest one person, if we're gonna say that's justice, where's equal justice? Where's equal application of our laws?
No, I agree, and I think we shouldn't arrest any of them. We should let this be fought out in the political arena. Look, today's arrest is part of a long pattern by Mueller. He only arrests people for crimes that occurred either after he came into office, crimes that were stimulated essentially by the investigation, or crimes that occurred earlier but have nothing to do with Russia, tax evasion, bank fraud, taxi cab medallions, or one case where he indicts Russians who will never come into this country, a show indictment.
Yeah, Russian intelligence agents.
Of arresting somebody. Right, and the idea of arresting somebody like Stone the way they arrested him is a civil libertarian nightmare. The ACLU should be up in arms. An hour later in court, the government conceded he was not a flight risk, he was not a danger, they accepted very low bail, and they let him leave. They should have called his lawyer and said, please show up at the federal courthouse tomorrow at 10 o'clock. He's been indicted. He'll be arraigned. That's the way white-collar criminals are treated. But what they want to do with him, with Stone, is to squeeze him the way they squeezed Flynn and the way they're squeezing Manafort. And it's Judge Ellis who said they're not interested in Manafort. They're interested in what Manafort can give them on Trump. They want to have him sing, and the fear is these people may also compose. We know some of them probably have already composed, made up stories. Now, Stone has said he won't do it. Of course, Michael Cohen said he wouldn't cooperate either, so we have to wait and see.
Thank you all for being with us.